Does she need another phone?
Does she need a top drawer or something?
Oh my god, yes, I texted her saying, do you need Sarah?
Do you need any top drawer?
Yeah, she has already asked me.
Oh my god, what are you going to do it?
Salisbury.
It's not
Go
exactly
together.
close, is it?
Yeah, it's not. I don't usually go that far.
They're not right, funny enough. But I need to say I'm going. I've said yeah, but I might get one here.
Oh, you won't be top drawer then, will you?
I've never talked to someone with her.
Right, Peg, wish us luck.
Wait a minute. Don't take this too far, yeah?
Okay. Katie thinks if I take it fast, I might not notice how bad it is. Anyway, go. Okay, right, ready. kind of goes, well, I'm just so pleased. Two in a row, that's positive. Yeah, that's what you need to say. Are we going to ever do Chanson de Nuit?
Yeah, we've done it.
Well, we haven't done it yet. We've done Chanson de Matin.
Oh, do it.
Slipped and all. Yeah, we haven't done Chanson de Nuit. Obviously, what I'll do for our next week, we're going to practice this at home. We've written this at home next day.
Oh, I should have trusted the finger ring.
Sorry,
I should have trusted the finger ring.
oh, was it good? You know what? Sometimes though, that finger is quite dodgy. They knew what they were doing.
I think it would have been alright actually.
Yeah, you never know until it's too late whether it's all right. We're going to do Chanson de Nuit. Oh, that's better. Yeah, Chanson de Nuit. Chanson de Nuit. Yeah. I might change my name. So what's going to happen in this one? Are you going to not understand it?
I might actually
Is it going to
fall off my chair.
create a diversion?
Yeah.
That was my choice. Someone else will choose it.
Have we done anything from the F?
Effing.
We haven't done the last move to the end.
The F again.
We could do the last move here. Of what? Div.
Oh, div.
Oh, sorry, what are you talking about?
I
Yeah.
talk about the F handle.
Oh, no, we could do the F handle.
We haven't done the F handle.
Who is the F handle?
The water music suite in F.
Oh.
So we could
And
do
what
number
number
3.
The grave.
Number 3.
Great. Allegro modula.
Oh, what, the first one?
I don't know.
Oh,
You
what?
said number 3. No, no, it's Allegro.
Why is it the third
Oh,
move?
there's another. I don't know. Is this
It
number?
goes
Overture.
yeah,
Yeah.
Number 3.
yeah, about that. I recognise that one.
Allegro modula.
Yes.
Number one.
No, number 3. In F.
Roman numeral 3, and
This is a bit much trouble.
Let's just keep
Maybe we need it now.
yeah, I don't know the right one. One flat. F major, right here. One flat. Yes, maybe. Wow. Well done, you. I just missed out a bit because it's like
Oh,
That's
that's
it. Really, is that a 3 play?
Not there.
no, it's only 2, but then you tap to DC.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. The ceremony will start when we've finished moving all the fans, but the procession is on its way, so hurry up and move the fan. Please make sure that if you have a mobile phone, that you take it out of your pocket, check to make sure you've turned it off, put it onto flight mode, vibrate, or anything, just so that it doesn't go off during the middle of the ceremony. My colleagues will walk around the church with jugs of water, so if you do feel that you'd need some water, please stop one of them and they'll top up a glass or bring a glass if you don't have any. Discreet photography and filmography is permitted throughout the ceremony, but for the comfort of all our guests, please do remain seated, use no tripods or anything, and just do it from the seat that you're sat in. Professional photos will be available to purchase, and a stream of the event is available on YouTube. The link is on the graduation page. Professional photos will be taken throughout the ceremony, and if anyone doesn't consent to their photo being taken today and used for publicity, please let myself or one of my other marshals know. In the extremely unlikely event that we need to exit the building in a hurry, please remain calm and seated. Marshals will assist you in exiting the building. For staff on stage, there is a fire exit to the left of the altar through the vestry. For people to my right, please exit through the rear tower door. For people to my left, please exit through the main entrance through which you came. Please wait to be directed by the marshals. When the ceremony is finished, the procession will leave the church and you will all be asked to stand. The procession will be followed by the graduates, our VIPs, and our remaining guests will then be asked to follow. If any of the children here today do become unsettled during the ceremony, I'd just ask that you take them outside to get them a breath of fresh air and then return once they're a bit more settled. Finally, to our graduands, may I be the first to congratulate you on your achievement. When your name is called, please step onto the stage. You will shake the Chancellor's hand before looking to the camera to my left for your official photo. When you leave the stage, please walk down the centre, the middle of the church, back to the very back of the church, where one of the marshals will help you find a seat. Thank you. Please enjoy the ceremony and the rest of the day. Can I please ask that you stand for the procession?
Please be seated.
Good afternoon, and may I welcome those who aren't resident here to the lovely market town of Buckingham. My name is Mary Archer, and I have the honour to be the Chancellor of the University. So it is my pleasure to welcome you all to this graduation ceremony. Graduation is a rite of passage, and this is a day that you, the graduands, will always remember with justifiable pride, because today is very special, not only for you, but also for your family and friends and supporters, and also for those who have taught you, mentored you, encouraged you, and possibly even occasionally scolded you. You have, as I expect you know, enjoyed the benefits of a very high standard of teaching and personal attention that is such a distinctive and attractive feature of the university. And I know you will have studied hard to achieve your goals. I hope you've enjoyed being part of the diverse and multicultural student body, which will have introduced you to people, experiences, traditions, and customs from across the world. You are the latest in a long and lengthening line of distinguished graduates from the University of Buckingham. When you look back on your time here and remember the support and encouragement you received, we hope you will remember us fondly and act as ambassadors for your university. I congratulate each and every one of you and wish you all good fortune in your chosen career and future life. Thank you.
Dame Mary, Distinguished Honorary Graduate Sir Brian Thwaites, Registrar, Associate Dean of Humanities and Social Studies, Social Sciences, other esteemed colleagues, graduands of the university, friends and relatives, and by relatives I've been told I mean parents, siblings, and spouses. It's wonderful to welcome you following Dame Mary's welcome to the University of Buckingham on this very, very special day. First, I want to give my heartfelt thanks to Dame Mary, the distinguished chair of the Science Museum, and our dear Chancellor for spending time with us all week and being here for this ceremony today to bestow your degrees upon you. I'm really pleased that you have chosen the University of Buckingham. I call it our unique boutique university. I'm so proud of it, and I hope that as you go into the world, you will look back with pride too. On this very site, on this very spot rather, in this church, in 1976, the University College at Buckingham, as it was called, was opened to its first students by one Margaret Thatcher. Margaret Thatcher in 1976, those with long memories or political minds will remember she was leader of the opposition then, and she went on 3 years later to become the UK's first female Prime Minister. And in 1983, she was in government, she was Prime Minister when our Royal Charter was bestowed upon us, so that we became the University of Buckingham, able to bestow degrees of our own. And then she became our Chancellor in 1992. And just like Dame Mary, now Baroness Thatcher, she was then, was really attentive to the students, came to events like this, and really was so concerned about the welfare and success of our students. Indeed, after this ceremony, we shall be welcoming you to the Balloff Lawn, the marquee that you saw earlier, for a drink and canapes. And in an earlier ceremony today, I met some alumni from 35, 40 years ago. They're proud parents now, with their children coming through at this ceremony. And they told me, yes, they shook hands with Margaret Thatcher on this very stage at the ceremony 35, 40 years ago. And so, of course, that means after the ceremony, you're graduands now, then you become graduates, you'll be alumni. Next year is our 40th anniversary of our Royal Charter, and we shall be contacting you as alumni to welcome you to various events, and look forward very much to having you with us there. So Margaret Thatcher, on this stage, back in 1976, said some words which I think are important and worth repeating now, and they seem valuable now. She liked our university because of its independence. She valued the independence from government, the independence of mind, the academic freedom and freedom of speech that led to. But she said these words, which I think are as powerful today as they were then. Independence, we must remember, is not a gift. It is not something that governments confer, but something that a free people enjoys and uses. She went on to say, freedom requires vigor and imagination in using the opportunities available. But unless, she continued, we are worthy and able to take advantage of a freedom not yet extinguished in our land, we shall become pale shadows, like civilizations before us, who were eventually thrust aside and dispossessed by more vigorous rivals. I think those words are really important, even for today. Now, most of you are graduates of the humanities. I believe there are a few social science graduates still amongst you, but most of you are from the humanities. And I try and find an event on this day in history which can lead to some form of inspirational words for us. And in the humanities, on this day in 1890, Vincent van Gogh died. Now, he died tragically early, and he was never able to see the success of his paintings. He was unsuccessful in his lifetime. But, of course, now he's perhaps the best known of the post-impressionists, and some of the world's most expensive paintings were painted by him. But from Van Gogh, we can learn a lot about motivation and about the nature of challenges and courage to meet those challenges. I love this quote here. He said, "If you hear a voice inside you which says you cannot paint, then by all means paint, and that voice will be silenced." I think that's a really good way of remembering. We will often face that moment of inadequacy, not feeling up to what we are wanting to do. Sometimes one feels that imposter syndrome. I'm here and I don't feel I'm quite in the right position. But what he says is, if you hear that voice saying, you cannot paint, paint, and that voice will be silenced. And I love this quote about the friends. And many of you, of course, have come through the university and have made friends, and friends will stay with you for life. Many of you may have met your partners here at university, but you've met your friends, and Vincent van Gogh said, "Close friends are truly life's treasures. With gentle honesty, they are there to guide and support us, to share our laughter and our tears. Their presence reminds us that we are never really alone." And our friends don't have to be other fellow human beings. He went on, "If you don't have a dog, at least one, there's not necessarily anything wrong with you, but there may be something wrong with your life." Really interesting. So let me just conclude with a couple of quotes. I know I quote Sir Winston Churchill frequently, Chancellor, but let me just, because this was an important week in Sir Winston Churchill's life back in 1945. This week in 1945, Sir Winston Churchill was voted out of government. He'd led the government through the war, and he was voted out of government. But he said something about modesty and humility in the face of victory, and I think it's a wonderful line. he said, "I've never accepted what many people have kindly said, namely that I inspired the nation. No, it was the nation and those dwelling all around the globe that had the lion's heart. I had the luck to be called upon to give the lion's roar." Sir Winston Churchill said many things about success and failure, but let me just finish with this one here. To each there comes in their lifetime a special moment when they are figuratively tapped on the shoulder and offered the chance to do a very special thing, unique to them and fitted to their talents. What a tragedy if that moment finds them unprepared or unqualified for that which could have been their finest hour. At Buckingham, we hope, we think, we have made you prepared, we've helped make you prepared and qualified to grasp those moments when they arrive, when fate comes figuratively tapping on your shoulder and there's an opportunity or a challenge or a desire that fits in neatly, perfectly with you as an individual, your values, your strengths, your aspirations and your skills. We like to think that we've got you in that position, and so that when that moment arrives in your life, you won't miss the potential for your finest hour. In fact, our motto of the University of Buckingham in Latin, Alice volans proprius, which means, of course, flying on your own wings, our motto conjures up a similar picture for me. Yes, we'd like to think we've helped you get your wings, to enable you to fly high, to enable you to succeed and meet the challenges as they arise. But not only wings, I'd like to think that we have given you additional routes, new routes that will help you throughout your life, that you can feel yourself as having your roots in our small, unique, boutique university, and that you will treasure being alumni of this university. It's such a pleasure to see you here. I'm looking forward to meeting you on the Balaf lawn later. Thank you so much for coming.
Call upon the registrar.
Chancellor, Mr. Graham Jones, University Orator, will present Sir Brian Thwaites for the degree of Doctor of the University, honoris causa.
Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, Sir Brian. It's no surprise to you, I know, that the students here today have been able to complete their degrees inside 2 years. At other universities, of course, it takes 3, sometimes 4 years to complete the degree. Yet as graduates here today, most of you will not know that the reason you've been able to complete your degree in 2 years is because of Sir Brian, who is today receiving his honorary doctorate. Sir Brian helped pioneer the idea of accelerated degrees 50 years ago. It is him that you have to thank that you were able to get your degrees inside 2 years. Without his persistence in debating things with the founders of the university here, it wouldn't have been a 2-year degree at all. You'd have to wait another year or 2 before you could graduate. And I'm looking out here and I can't see anybody about to jump up going, yes, I'd love to do another year or 2. And I can't see any mums or dads saying, I'd like another year or 2 of fees, please. Sir Brian was personally responsible for persuading all the backers of the university that a degree in 2 years was possible. Clearly they were persuaded by his argument. Briefly then, he became the first Vice-Chancellor of the university. And so it's fitting today that Sir Brian was nominated by our current Vice-Chancellor to receive his honorary doctorate.
Professor Tooley said in his nomination that Sir Brian had made an outstanding contribution over many decades to education, including involvement with this university 50 years ago. So having read that, I thought I ought to delve into our archives here at the university and see what those outstanding contributions were. And I have to tell you, there was a lot more archive material to go through than I was expecting, showing that Sir Brian has made a significant contribution in a variety of fields. In his mid-20s, the young Brian Thwaites was at Imperial College in London after completing his MA at Cambridge. And then he went to the National Physical Laboratory where he developed something called the Thwaites flap. Now, you might not have heard of the Thwaites flap unless you are in aeronautical engineering, but they are used even today in aeronautical testing. Those of you who've flown here may well have been flown in on an aeroplane that was tested using the Thwaites flap. How many of you would love at your age now to have, because this is when the Thwaites flap was invented in his mid-20s, how many of you would love to have something named after you right now and be used in your field for the next 50 years with your name to it? Clearly an outstanding contribution made by Sir Brian. But even though the Thwaites flap was developed some time ago, thanks to the more modern invention of Google, I was able to discover that the Thwaites flap is being used right now in developing an octopus robotic device to go under the sea. It looks like an octopus, it behaves like an octopus, but it had to be developed using the Thwaites flap. But the young Brian didn't stop there. He left Imperial and the National Physical Laboratory to take up a post as a maths teacher at Winchester College, where he has made a significant contribution throughout his life. He was there for 8 years before joining the newly established University of Southampton as the Professor of Theoretical Mathematics. Now, Southampton is on the south coast and has become established as a leading institution in maritime engineering. So it probably won't come as a surprise that the octopus robot I've just mentioned was developed at Southampton University. So it must be especially rewarding for Sir Brian to know that his early work is now being used by researchers at the first university that he worked at. While at Southampton, Professor Thwaites helped set up the School Mathematics Project. That helped revolutionise the way maths was taught to school children. That's another lasting impact that Sir Brian has had on education. But he wasn't satisfied with that. He went on to establish the Institute of Mathematics and its application, leading to the establishment of something called the Chartered Mathematician. So you might think Professor Thwaites had had enough of doing new things, but he clearly isn't a man who likes to rest. He then set up the charity Education 2000. This came about after Professor Thwaites organised a conference with a wide range of people involved with education in its broadest sense. One of the points raised in that conference was that there are myriads of reports of totally unconnected papers being produced about education all the time by large numbers of concerned organisations, the results of which, he says, are very limited and needing drawing together. In one sense, this is indicative of Sir Brian. He has an interest in developing and looking at the truth of things. He's previously said that the lectures that you attended, the seminars you attended, the tutorials that you went to, all have one thing in common, in that they were searching for the truth. More importantly, he believes that as you graduate here today, that you should constantly search for the truth in everything you do. You could do no worse than take Sir Brian Thwaites as your example. He is someone who has clearly had a lifetime of searching for the truth, which is why he is being honoured today with his honorary doctorate.
Confer upon you the degree of Doctor
Chancellor, I call upon Professor Julian Richards, Associate Dean of the School of Humanities and Social Sciences, to present candidates for awards of the University of Buckingham in Humanities.
Chancellor, I present to you the graduates in English and digital media. For the degree of Master of Arts in Dickens Studies by Research, Carol Barwick. Joy Tetley. Kyle Truman. For the degrees of Master of Arts in Digital News and Media by Research and Bachelor of Arts, Catherine Barr. For the degree of Master of Arts in English Literature by Research and Bachelor of Arts, Amy Coles with First Class Honours. For the degree of Master of Arts in English Literature, Tilly Smith. Florentina Vingau with distinction. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Arzu Abdullayeva. Bailey Abson. Basil Abu Dhaka. Gemma Adams with First Class Honours. Barima Adugiima with First Class Honours. Tony Aoun. Samantha Carmichael with First Class Honours. Maxwell Cawthorne with First Class Honours. Victor Ho Leung Chung. Veronica Chiappa. Samuel Clark. Jessica Edwards with First Class Honours. Amanam Julian Ikong. Zenab Fakaredi. Jordan Galloway. Alexandra Grivna. Timothy Nkoum. Rhys Johnston Oyanusi with first class honours. Amy Kitchener with first class honours. Olivia Larson with first class honours. Vladislav Loik with first class honours. Yevgenia Loik with first class honours. Sophie Loud with first class honours. Derek Metu. Nadine Akogbo Soke. Oluwaf Siomi Ike Oluwa Olumekun. Okay. Ji Young Park. Daniel Pexton. Daniel Poole. Saeed Katan. Alexandra Reynard. Sukhninder Sagu with first class honours. Isabella Sartain. Elizabeth Solleveld. Anna Strong with first class honours. Kirsty Thomas with first class honours. Lucy Walder with first class honours. Ellie Wybrow. Ryuki Yoshikawa with first class honours. Chancellor, I present to you the graduates in History and History of Art. For the degree of Master of Arts in Biography by Research, Sarah Helen Harkness with distinction. Glenys Warlow with distinction. For the degree of Master of Arts in Biography, Labarupa Bhattacharjee. For the degree of Master of Arts in Decorative Arts and Historic Interiors, Marie-Louise Bayerbach with distinction. Bridget Griffin. David Toman. Rebecca Walker with distinction. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Clementine Edney with first-class honours. Hugh Ellerton. Natasha Hornby with first-class honours. Grace McGowan. Daniel O'Sullivan. Maria Ludovica Rosselli with first-class honours. Amber Sway. For the degree of Master of Arts in Security and Intelligence Studies and Bachelor of Arts, Walter Woolgar with distinction. Chancellor, I present to you the graduates in Modern Foreign Languages. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Anna Sophia Ray. Anastasia Kitney with first-class honours. Elora Kidja. Chancellor, I present to you the graduates of the Humanities Research Institute and London programmes. For the degree of Master of Arts in Archaeology by Research, Edward Dempster with distinction. For the degree of Master of Arts in Country House Studies by Research, Richard Howell. Sabine Elkington. For the posthumous award of Master of Arts Aigretat in History of Art, Renaissance to Modernism, I welcome the family of John Bennett. For the degree of Master of Arts in History of Art, Renaissance to Modernism, Carolyn Hanson. Julia Pearson with distinction. For the degrees of Master of Arts in Leadership in Sport and Bachelor of Arts, Richard Agbasoga. For the degree of Master of Arts in Leadership in Sport, Carl Adejobi with distinction. Dalvinda de Roch with distinction. Michael Stanton with distinction. Lucy Yates with distinction. For the degrees of Master of Arts in Leadership in Sport and Bachelor of Science in Business Management, Callum Jones with First Class Honours. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Military History, Andrew Wheel, having submitted a thesis entitled Generating and Sustaining Combat Effectiveness, British 6th Airborne Division, 5th of November, 1942 to 27th of August, 1944. For the degree of Master of Arts in Military History by Research, Christopher Dawson, Aigretat. Daniel Norman. Scott Sheriff with distinction. Charles Richard Trumpes. For the degree, Doctor of Philosophy in Modern War Studies, Patrick Walker, having submitted a thesis entitled War Without Oversight, Challenges to the Deployment of Autonomous Weapons Systems. For the degree of Master of Arts in Modern War Studies by Research, David Higgins. Stephen Leshek. Brian Simmons. For the degree, Doctor of Philosophy in Philosophy, Peter Murray, having submitted a thesis entitled Then Arises a Tumult of Hound Voices, a Philosophy of Fox Hunting in the Light of the Arguments that Surround It. For the degree of Master of Arts in Philosophy by Research, Jolyon Smith. Deborah Voorhees. For the degree of Master of Arts in Tudor and Stuart History by Research, Paul Stevens. For the degree of Master of Arts in 20th Century British History by Research, Tim Aker with distinction. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in International Studies, Viren Anil Nagpal. For the degree of Master of Arts in United Nations and Diplomatic Studies, Agnes Ajuma Gobia. Before I sit down, I would like to just say a few words. Life, ladies and gentlemen, can be a funny thing. To say it has its ups and downs is certainly an understatement. There are days and moments when we all struggle, when we feel down, when we feel under pressure to such an extent that we're not sure we're going to be able to make it through. And to boot, life can tend to be so hectic and busy that we can't get the time to take stock and understand where we are. All of you have achieved incredible things in completing your degrees. It's been hard. There's been blood, sweat, and yes, sometimes tears. And that's just us in the teaching team. But there are certain moments in all of our lives when we pause briefly to take in the view. Photographs are taken, memories are captured, and for years afterwards, we and our loved ones cherish a most special day. I declare that today is one of those days of unmitigated joy and pride, not just for all of you, who have today marked a wonderful milestone in your lives, but for us also, who have helped you along the way, can now share in your wonderful success. It's a funny thing to imagine that photographs of today will adorn mantelpieces around the world for years to come and will bring daily joy to many of us. And the path ahead is a thoroughly exciting one. Many have passed through these hallowed halls before you and have gone on to do some extraordinary things. Many indeed from amongst your throng having already done extraordinary things before joining us here, and we have been blessed to share in your knowledge and insights. It's a curious but magnificent thought to know that we're going to see many more such people in the future from amongst those sitting in front of us right now. We thank all of you for choosing Buckingham as the place to pursue your passion for research and learning and for enriching all of our lives. You've all worked incredibly hard to achieve what you've achieved today, and you're all to be very heartily congratulated. Thank you.
Chancellor, the Edgar Palamountain Prize for Excellence is awarded annually to the student who has come first in the final examinations within that student's discipline and has, in the opinion of the university, shown the greatest degree of all-round excellence. The recipient for 2022 is Mrs. Yevhenia Luik from the School of Humanities and Social Sciences. The Chancellor will now conclude the ceremony.
As the Registrar has just said, this ceremony is now drawing towards its close. The Vice-Chancellor has reminded us of the motto of the university, which, like all good university mottos, is in Latin, Alice volans propriis, flying on our own wings. May I again congratulate our new graduates, no longer graduands, and wish you every success as you go forward, flying on your own wings. May I also say what a particular pleasure it has been for me to confer an honorary doctorate of the university on Sir Brian Thwaites, without whose singular determination this university would not exist in the way that it does. The two-year degree and much that flows from it we owe to Sir Brian, and we are greatly in your debt. The Vice-Chancellor talked about the freedom of speech and independence of thought that is a much valued characteristic of this university. And it was pleasing, therefore, earlier this week to see a piece in the Daily Telegraph which talked about the outstanding moral leadership provided by the university. You will also go on to be moral leaders, so make sure you are outstanding moral leaders. The Vice-Chancellor also quoted, as he himself admitted he quite frequently does, Winston Churchill. And Churchill's remark on the conclusion of the war that it was the British people who had the heart of the lion, and it fell to him to give the roar of the lion. Thinking back to the semi-final on Tuesday evening and ahead to the final on Sunday, I think we should end with a little roar for the lionesses. Thank you. This ceremony is now concluded.
Please be upstanding.